There are places where the dead do not rest easy. Places where the boundary between our world and theirs grows thin. Hollow Creek Cemetery is such a place. For over 100 years, guards have patrolled its paths from midnight until dawn. Not everyone survives the night. This is the story of Kevin's first shift. Kevin needed money for college when he saw the listing for a night security guard at Hollow Creek Cemetery. The pay seemed too good to be true. 3 times the normal rate. No experience required. He should have wondered why. He should have asked questions. But he was young and desperate. He took the job. The old guard met Kevin at the gate at 11:45. His hands were covered in scars. His eyes had seen too much. "Listen carefully," he said. "At midnight, you lock the gates. You do not open them until dawn. No matter what you hear, no matter what you see, you do not let anything out. Do you understand?" The old man handed Kevin a list. Rules for the night shift. Never enter the old section after 2 a.m. Do not respond if you hear your name called. If you see someone you know among the graves, it is not them. And most importantly, if the bell in the chapel tower rings, run to the gatehouse and do not come out until dawn. The old guard left at 11:59. Kevin locked the gates behind him. He was alone now, surrounded by thousands of graves, armed with only a flashlight and a radio that did not work. The cemetery stretched before him, silent and dark. And then the clock struck midnight, and the silence ended. It started as scratching, faint, distant, like something digging through dirt. Kevin told himself it was an animal, a raccoon maybe, but the sound was coming from below, from beneath the ground, from the graves. And it was getting louder, more frantic, as if something down there was trying to get out. Kevin's route took him past the old section, graves from the 1800s, weathered and crumbling. He checked his watch. 1:50 a.m. He needed to be past this section before 2. But as he walked faster, he heard it. Someone calling his name. "Kevin, Kevin, come closer." A voice he recognized. His grandmother's voice. She had been dead for 5 years. Kevin did not respond. He kept walking, heart pounding. The voice grew angry. "Kevin, why won't you answer me? Don't you love me anymore?" He forced himself to remember. If you hear your name called, do not respond. His grandmother was dead. Whatever was calling him was not her. He walked faster. He made it past the old section just as his watch hit 2. Behind him, the voices stopped. But something new began. Movement in the darkness. Shadows that were not shadows. Kevin shined his flashlight toward a fresh grave. The dirt was moving, bulging upward, cracking, and a hand, gray and rotting, burst through the soil. All around him, the dead were waking, graves burst open. Bodies clawed their way out, some fresh, some ancient skeletons held together by rotting cloth. They did not shamble like in the movies. They moved with purpose, with hunger, and they were all looking at Kevin. Kevin ran. He did not think, he just ran. Behind him, the sound of pursuit, shuffling feet, scraping bones, moans that were not quite human. He headed for the gatehouse, the only building with walls thick enough to matter. But the dead were between him and safety. They were herding him, driving him somewhere. They drove him to the chapel. The old stone building loomed in the darkness, its bell tower reaching toward the sky. Kevin realized their plan too late. They were not trying to catch him. They were offering him. They wanted him inside the chapel. And now the chapel doors were swinging open by themselves. Kevin burst through the doors, desperate to escape the dead. Inside, candles that no one had lit burned on every surface. The pews were filled with corpses, seated like a congregation. And at the altar stood something that was not a corpse, something far older, something that had been waiting for this offering. The thing at the altar smiled. A new guard, it said. How delicious. Kevin remembered the rules. If the bell rings, run to the gatehouse. But the bell was here, in the tower above him. He made a choice. He ran not for the exit, but for the tower stairs. If the bell could save him, he would ring it himself. Kevin climbed. The spiral stairs seemed endless. Below, he could hear them coming. The congregation was rising from the pews. The thing from the altar was ascending. Kevin's lungs burned. His legs screamed. But he could see the bell now. Massive, ancient, covered in symbols he did not recognize. Kevin grabbed the rope and pulled with everything he had. The bell rang. A sound so pure, so powerful, that it shook the tower. Below, the dead screamed. The thing at the altar shrieked in rage. The bell rang again and again, and with each ring, the dead fell. They crumbled. They returned to dust. Kevin rang the bell until dawn. When the first light touched the cemetery, the dead had all returned to their graves. The thing at the altar had dissolved into shadow. Kevin collapsed in the tower, exhausted, alive. He had survived his first night. He finally understood what the guards were really guarding against. The old guard found him in the morning. He was not surprised. "You rang the bell," he said. Not many figure that out. Kevin asked why no one had told him about the bell. The old man smiled. "If we told you, it would not work. The bell only saves those who find it themselves, those who fight for their lives." Kevin could have quit. Anyone would have. But he thought about the next guard. Someone else, young and desperate, facing that horror with no warning. He could not let that happen. So Kevin stayed, night after night, year after year. And when he grew old, he became the one who passed the rules to the new guards. So, if you ever visit a cemetery at night, Look for the guard. Look for the person who walks the paths when everyone else is asleep. They are not there to protect the cemetery from you. They are there to protect you from what sleeps beneath. The dead are patient, but their hunger never dies. Sweet dreams.